2010 seems so far ago, doesn't it? But what's your team of the decade? Talk us through it.
Well, let's have it right. It hasn't been the greatest decade, has it? When you think I can't pick people like Ryan Giggs, I can't pick people like Thierry Henry, Patrick Vieira. So I expect a little bit of stick from my team of the decade. I know there's a few flaws in there, but that's the team I'm going to go with. I'm going with De Gea in goal. I don't think the boys will disagree with that. Yeah. Right back and left back, I was struggling. Azpilicueta and Ashley Cole. I could have maybe had Leighton Baines or Patrice Evra, but I went with Ashley Cole. Gerrard could play 10 minutes of football in a decade, and he was always going to get in my team of the decade. And then I went for David Silva for pure quality and longevity. Yaya, Toure, people forget about as well. And then the front three, Eden Hazard, Aguero and Wayne Rooney. It was important that Rooney was in there. My big choice was between Hazard and Kevin De Bruyne. But I think, just looking at the numbers, I think Eden Hazard's played, just over 100 games more or close to that. So he just got the nod there. So I accept there's a few flaws, but at the same time, I still think it's pretty strong.
No team is perfect.
Hold on. It's never good when you start off explaining your team with, listen, I know this team ain't really that good.
And it's been a rubbish decade.
Out the gate.
I can't put Thierry Henry in, so...
but just stick Ashley Cole in there.
Well, the one big deviation from the teams you guys did, and from Frank did, was Wayne Rooney. And this is a tough one, isn't it? Because he kind of doesn't fit into the decade neatly, does he?
I'll tell you what.
Well, it's just the question of the 10 years.
And that's the thing. This is where I sympathise with Don and the point he was making, but as we've already established, he's not the best of lawyers. There are a number of fantastic players who have just hurdled the start of the last decade. Yeah. And whereas you want to put them in for their body of work, you then think, you start to think, well, has that body of work in this decade really been deserving of being in the side? And that's the tough conundrum.
Here's the one thing that I've learned today. If you want...
Can't wait for this.
Well, no, if you want somebody to defend you, if you want somebody to make a case for you, in life, in general, the last person you should call is Don Hutchison. This man presents his options by saying, this team is no good. He defends his position by saying, well, if you think something different, then yeah, I can see your point. Come on, Don! Make a case for yourself!
Ali, one day you will hope I am not your lawyer.
That day's today!
I throw myself at the mercy of the court, Your Honour.
Because I will take you down.
Clemency, please.
I will take you down.
Gab Marcotti is also with us. Gab, obviously the problems with these team of the decades is players don't fit neatly into any 10-year boxes, do they? But would you have Wayne Rooney in your team of the decade for the 2010s?
No, I don't think I would.
What?
I mean, it depends what decade it is, but if it's the 2010s, probably not. I do wonder, though, and then the other guy who doesn't fit, for me, is Azpilicueta, just because he doesn't fit at right back, because, he's played so many different positions, maybe he doesn't fit anywhere. But the one thing, Don, that surprised me, being a former Everton player, you pick Ashley Cole, who played, 4 years in this decade, and the last year he wasn't any good, over Leighton Baines? My goodness.
You can't just pick someone.
Does longevity count for nothing? Does pride count for nothing? Does Goodison count for nothing? Does the Gladys end count for nothing?
But you're still got to take... Someone could be like Ashley Cole playing in the Premier League for 4 years, and he might be better in 4 years than Leighton Baines was for 7.
But was he?
That's my point. I think so.
He wasn't. Was he?
No, what? Well, I think so, yes. Don't try and take me down, Gab. Don't try and make me buckle. It's that sort of day. It's that sort of day where I could cave.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN+.